Insidious: The Last Key is the first new wide-release movie of 2018, and is a horror movie, which happens generally every year. Every year we'll get a crappy January horror movie in the first week, but Insidious: The Last Key is a little different. So Insidious: The Last Key is the fourth movie in the Insidious franchise, and it once again follows Elise, the psychic. This is another prequel to the first movie. The third one was as well. And in this movie, Elise has to go back to her childhood home where she doesn't have many memories necessarily. She has scars, physical and mental. And she has to kind of confront these inner demons that have been kind of locked inside of her for so long in her life, while also dealing with this haunting going on in this house. And it all culminates to what is actually a pretty solid horror movie, especially for January. Okay, so just for starters, Lin Shaye is fantastic in this. This may be her best performance, at least in this franchise. She's once again really great here, and her character is infinitely fascinating. I've always found her character to be a very interesting one, and she does have kind of a minor role in the first two Insidious movies. But 3 and 4, she's really gotten to shine, and this one in particular is her movie, which is great. And I loved seeing her battle her inner demons. The scares in this movie don't necessarily come from the literal demons. It's the figurative ones. It's the inner demons within Elise that are the scary thing about this movie, because this movie has some very touchy subjects it goes over. And it's very intense, surprisingly. For a PG-13 movie, this tackles some very interesting subjects of child abuse, murder, and some other things I won't spoil. But it works very well. It's very effective. The jump scares can get really annoying. Most of them aren't false, but most of them aren't scary either. There is one scene that has an incredible jump scare, and the suspense is built up so well. This movie is very good at building suspense. The jump scare part, but the suspense is fantastic, especially in this one scene involving suitcases. It was perfect. And yeah, the jump scares, aside from the one, do fall flat, as does the comedy. Most of the comedy's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of this comedy in this movie falls flat. There's a couple jokes that are kind of funny. One involving the scene with the suitcases. There's a joke in that scene which is hilarious, and that's the only really funny joke in the movie. Cause the comedy falls back. Some of it is just awkward, the comedy. I facepalmed and rolled my eyes once, towards the end of the movie, kind of in the last couple scenes there's a joke, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, I did facepalm. So yeah, the jokes are really bad. The writing's not always perfect. This isn't a great movie, but it builds up tension pretty well. It is a very character-driven movie, which is really great. It kind of changes it up from the first three, in a way. The first three are character-based, but not quite as much as this one is, I think. And while this might be my least favorite of the series, it's still very strong, I think. And I think it's a pretty decent horror movie, especially for January. It's pretty solid. I had a good time with this one. I'm gonna give Insidious: The Last Key a B. I'm kind of hoping this is the last movie, though, cause I just don't want them to milk this cow for all it's worth. I don't feel like it's necessary anymore. I think we can let this series die. It's come full circle. We can just kind of let it die while it's still good. This is a very solid quadrilogy. I given all these movies a B, so that's great. But yeah, so that's my review for Insidious: The Last Key. I have a review for Paddington 2 coming up probably tomorrow. I'm gonna film it right now though. But yeah, so that's my review for Insidious: The Last Key. So peace.